Here we are at the Riverside Raceway, but we're not here to watch cars race. We're here to see a four-stroke rally. This is the 5th annual Hobby Shack four-stroke rally in Riverside, California. This contest has been growing in size and has done a lot to further the popularity of the four-stroke engine in the southwest United States. The two categories of competition this weekend are standoff scale and team standoff scale. Of course, every plane must be powered by a four-stroke engine. Later today, when the judges and the contestants take a break for lunch, world champion Hanno Prattner and Oshioku put on a flying demonstration that you really have to see to believe.
They're off.
We have with us here Paul Bender, president of Hobby Shack Incorporated. Paul, how did this contest get started?
Well, about 5 years ago, before four-stroke engines were very popular like they are today, we decided that we'd like to sponsor a contest, and we thought to promote the four-stroke engines and to make a very unique contest that we'd start the Hobby Shack Riverside Club four-stroke contest.
There's a really big crowd here today. Is this how it started, or has it grown to this?
No, the first year, of course, it was a lot smaller, and each year it's grown larger and grown larger. This is our largest contest to date. We hope it continues to grow.
This is open to anybody out of state or just from California?
No, we have contestants here, I believe, from 5 or 6 states outside of California.
Okay, Mr. Bender has been very generous, and it's just a great big table full of prizes, radios, airplanes, and that seems to draw a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, what's unique about this contest is it's very low pressure, very enjoyable for the contestants and the spectators. We didn't plan it to be this way, but as it's grown year after year, everybody just comes out and enjoys themselves. It's almost like the contest itself is secondary to just having a good time.
Thank you, Mr. Bender. I think we all appreciate a company that supports the hobby by putting on such a great contest as this.
Thank you.
Here's one of the most unique planes I've seen in a while. This plane is flown and built by Don Westergren of San Diego, California.
I built the annular wing airplane called the Lee Richards No. 3. It's a true quarter-scale airplane of an airplane that was built in England in 1914 by a Mr. Lee and a Mr. Richards, hence the name, the Lee Richards No. 3. It was the third airplane in the series that they had developed. We call it the flying toilet seat, and you can see why it's called a toilet seat. It has the shape and the contour just like one. This plane weighs 17 pounds and has a wing diameter of 5.5 feet. It's powered by a Saito 1.2 cubic inch four-stroke engine. I built it over the span of 5 weeks back in May and June of 1983. I got the 3 views out of Model Aviation magazine in January '83 and built it up from that. There are no plans for it, just my notes and scaling dimensions off of the 3 views. The original airplane flew quite a bit in 1914. It was demonstrated at an air show with Winston Churchill in attendance, and he asked for a ride in it, in fact. But they didn't give him a ride because they claimed that it was mechanical difficulties prevented him from flying it with him aboard. In reality, I think the airplane couldn't carry 2 people, even though it has 2 cockpits. It has extremely slow flight characteristics. I can hold it up at a very high angle of attack and just mush along at just barely above walking speed. I can have complete control and turn during that slow flight either right or left. The airplane has a very strong dihedral effect, which means that when I give it a little bit of rudder, and I only have 5 degrees throw on the rudder each way, the plane will roll strongly.
You almost lost it. He's going downwind, he didn't get any altitude. He kept trying to do this, and he made a turn. I mean, that guy turned with power. That's real good. He can't even get any altitude very high.
The 4-stroke engine with its lower RPM, realistic sound, and its torque characteristics adds a new dimension to the scale aircraft. Jim McDonald shared with us the story of his fine 1936 Culver Dart.
It started off as a monocoque design. It was designed by Al Mooney when he worked for Monocoque. And they built a prototype and parts for about 3 aircraft and kind of lost interest in the design and sold the design rights, the parts, the plane, and Al Mooney to Knight Culver, who was one of the salesmen for Monocoque. And he took it up to Port Columbus, Ohio, and built it as a Culver Dart. And built, I think, about 50 or 60 of them. All of the first maybe 20 or 30 had round engines, and then they went to a Continental type opposed engine. This one is modeled, there's about 7 of them that are still flying, and this is modeled after a restoration by a guy named David Folk, who's a lawyer back in Pennsylvania. And I saw it pictured in a magazine. It had been at Oshkosh about 3 years ago or so. So I got a series of photos from him, and I got the original factory drawings from Lloyd Washburn, who's the president of the Dart Owners Association. So this was designed by me using the original factory drawings, which are in quarter scale, and I just basically traced all the outlines and then filled in the detail. And started it this last October and worked it through. Just finished it about a week ago. I've got 10 flights on it before this contest.
What kind of construction did you use?
It's all balsa with plywood and spruce and points of stress. It's covered with super coverite, painted with Can-Be super epoxy. I mixed the yellow myself to get the right tone of yellow. It's a real short coupled airplane. You'd think it'd be a real squirrel ball in the air, but I've got it balanced all the way forward to the 25% point, and it's really very stable. And it's the only problem is it's got a broad chord wing, and it's a real floater and ground effect as it lands. It's kind of an art to a 3-point landing with it, but it's a neat airplane. I think to me it's just cute. It looks like a little bumblebee in the air. So,
okay. Well, thank you very much. And now, for the flying demonstration at this year's 4-stroke rally, Hanno Prattner flies the easy Bud Light Laser to music. Looks like my flying, only I don't do it on purpose. Here's another great flying easy product, the big Bud Light Laser. This plane weighs 15.5 pounds. It's being flown by Yoshioka. The Kristen Eagle is a popular easy kit, also being flown by Yoshioka. This plane has a 15 to 16 pound flying weight and a wingspan of 63.4 inches. Here is Hanno Prattner's famous Superfly. This aircraft is one of his own design, and it's powered with a Super Tiger 3000 with a tuned pipe. Easy has just come up with a 60 size of this plane. We watched Hanno earlier warm up, and he did things I never knew an airplane could do. So I think this really will be interesting. Hanno, we've been watching you fly in the demonstrations here today, and I've never seen aircraft do that before, especially that low, slow-flying knife edge. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about what the secret to that might be.
I fly this one on a big Suprafly, so the secret is a very powerful engine, and another secret is a light plane. So as more light or as lighter the plane is, as easier it is to do the maneuvers, especially I like always for extreme performance. So for example, I fly the knife edge loop, I fly the helicopter spin with this one, I fly the slow knife edge flight and many different maneuvers.
Can you tell us a little bit about the Superfly that Easy has developed?
Yes, the newest model from Easy Model is the Superfly. It's my World Championship winning design, and I feel it's the best design, or it's the best kit which ever was done from my designs. The reason that I say this is because the kit is very light, it's a brand new construction, so that we were able to reach a weight of approximately 7 pounds. So this means the model is able to fly constant speed very nice. I fly this model at the coming World Championships, and the reason for the design was to try that everybody is able to fly with the same model which I will use at World Championships. This means regardless if it's kit number 1, 200 or maybe 1000 and something else, the pilot will have the guarantee that it's really the same model that I fly in competition.
Hanno, I've heard rumors that you practice every day or 3 times a week. You must practice a lot. Can you give us an idea of what it takes to become a level pilot that you are?
It takes a lot of practice, but it's impossible to practice every day. So I try to fly before World Championships, 1 month ahead of World Championships, to fly every day and to make approximately 4 to 5 flights, not more than 4 to 5 flights, because then you lose concentration, and if I lose concentration I cannot improve anymore.
I also understand you fly mode 1, is that true?
Yes, I fly mode 1 from the beginning, and I also fly the transmitter in a tray, and I think, or I know, that this is better for aerobatic maneuvers, because for example when you have to do corrections Or if you go, for example, in rolling circles with 4, 3, 2, or maybe also with 1 roll, it's easier to correct the plane on its flight path if the aileron and if the elevator is separate. Even if you fly the transmitter in a tray, if you have the transmitter in a tray, then it's better to control the sticks, because I do it just with 2 fingers, so it gives more free movement to switch to switch different switches or buttons, and also to move the sticks properly.
Also, I was just curious, do you use a lot of dual rate and switches and mixing while you're in flight? Do you do any modes, any switching like that?
If I want to fly extremely, yes. My radio has the possibility to have 3 steps on elevator, even on aileron and also on rudder. So, for example, I can change the flying characteristics during the flight dramatically, which means with the same plane I can do very smooth World Championship maneuvers, and when I go on high rate, then I can do the funniest maneuver, or I can do all the tricks which I want to do. Even I can couple dual rate with exponential, which gives the possibility to fly the plane even on high rate, to fly it smooth.
Hanno, thank you very much. It's really a pleasure to shoot you flying. I've never seen anything like it, and we thank you for talking to us.
I enjoyed.
Yeah, that was fantastic, Hanno. Let's hear it for Hanno, Brett, and Mike. Fantastic. That's all I can say. That's good work. That worked fantastic.
Oshioko of Japan joins Hanno Pretner in this flying demonstration of 2 of the latest easy aircraft, the scale Hawkwolf. After the demonstration, we caught up with Oshioko, talked with him about his business in Japan, the assistance of Tom Takamatsu as an interpreter. Oshioko runs a hobby store. He also does some manufacturing and export.
Radio control airplane was just his hobby. Then he just going to a retail shop and hop open a retail shop because he really liked it. Then a couple years after, he really wanted to go into a pattern ship competition. Then after he won a couple competition, it was his dream from his young age. He wanted to make kits of radio control airplanes, so that's why he started manufacturing models too.
After talking with Oshioko, Tom was gracious enough to stay with me and interpret for his father, the president of OK Models. My first question is, how did he come up with the concept for the easy kits, and how they came out to be such high quality and really good flying airplanes?
この品質を保つということが一番私の考えていたことだったね。Okay. He said, I have been manufacturing model airplane for 30 years. And probably he manufactured more than 2 million model airplanes. This was really his dream. He want to come up with some model airplane can fly maybe tomorrow, after he purchased. And since he is not a good flyer and he crashes all the time, so when he buy the regular kit, there's no way he can fly next weekend. So he really want to make something very special, just for himself. So he wanted, that's really his dream to come up. And also to, as he's not good at it, he crashes more so often, he cannot just afford so expensive models. So he want to come down very low price. And of course, because of not good flying, models cannot be flown by anybody, so have to be good flying performance too, and keep up the same quality all the time, so everybody can fly the same airplane every time he purchases. That's the idea he had.
Well, very good. It certainly worked out to be a great idea. So basically he's designed an aircraft to match his flying, and something that can be built quickly. A true love of model aviation, then. Can you maybe give us a hint of what might follow, what new aircrafts might come out from the Easy?
これも同じように40のサイズで、続けて 2点ほど出すことになっております。
Okay, next coming up will be a P-51, and after that probably will be a 0. And both these models going to be the same size, which is 40 to 45 two-stroke and 60 to 90 four-stroke.
Okay. Well, we thank you very much for speaking with us, and thank you, Tom, for interpreting. Thank you. We were really fortunate today. We've run into a gentleman who's been in model aviation for a long time. The name is Mr. Proctor. Lou Proctor, is that right?
That's right, sir. You bet, Lou Proctor. And I've been in this business now since about 1923, making models. And in 1929, I won the scale championships on a trip over to Europe. And in that time, I met all of the European people of any consequence in aviation. And they had the 20th anniversary of Louis Blériot's crossing of the English Channel. And they had a big banquet in Paris. And I was invited to this banquet, and I still got the place card from this banquet, Louis Blériot's signature on it. Oh. And of course, Lindbergh, I knew him and have a picture taken with him. And so all of these people from the early days, there was a lot of them, like Mr. Ferry and the Prince of Wales. All these we met, you know, someplace along the line. So it's been a long time and a lot of fun. And in 1929, when I won the scale championship, I was the only fellow left flying reeds. Everybody else was on proportional except me.
Maybe you can tell us a little bit about this aircraft you brought today.
The one that we're flying today here is the Stope Starlet. It's designed by Lou Stope from Flaybob, and he designed the Starduster 2 and the Acromaster and the Starduster single place also. And this one had some design features that weren't so good, but there've been a lot of changes since that time, and so I've incorporated all of those in this airplane, which is a 1/3 scale. And it came out to being pretty good. Only thing is I put a paint job on it to suit myself because I wanted to be able to see it. In this one, all the external stuff is 100% scale, but internal, I made no effort to make it scale, except where you could see it, like the dash and this stuff.
What engine is this?
This is a Saito 270. When I was in Japan, Mr. Saito gave me this engine, and I've been running it ever since. I have 2 of these now.
I can tell you like it.
Oh yes, I think this is the best one on the market today. And it's easy to choke and really easy to start. You know, all you do is flip the spinner and it goes.
Well, great. I sure hope you do well here. Thank you, Mr. Proctor. It's been a real pleasure to meet you.
Down, powers up. There we go. Look at that American flag, ladies and gentlemen.
Ron has a Fokker Eindecker 3 here, a beautiful aircraft. So tell us a little bit about how you came up with this aircraft.
Well, John Lockwood has the plans. He's from Fresno, California, and I seen it out in Vegas about 7 or 8. Well, the plane is 8 years old, so it had to be the first year that they had it out in Vegas. And I just liked the plane. It flew so nice and slow and easy. And this is before 4-cycle engines, but now it even made it even better with the advent of 4-cycle engines.
What are some of the features you've got on that?
Well, it does wing warp. The wings actually warp. In 1914, there was no such thing as ailerons. They didn't know what ailerons were. So they were a series of cables from the bottom and the top. The wings actually twist to make the plane bank into a turn. And it's strictly a rudder flying and wing warping combination flying airplane.
What's it feel like to fly a wing warping plane?
It's very stable at low speeds. At low speeds, it beats ailerons all to hell. And it's just very, the plane only flies at 10 miles an hour. And you come by and it'll hold its altitude good. It's not a wind plane. It's a little windy out here for it today. But other than that, we're holding our own with score-wise.
Okay, also, it's probably 100 degrees here today. How does that affect the flying?
Doesn't affect it at all. Doesn't affect it at all. The plane has a Saito 270 twin for power, and it's airborne and flying, I do my whole routine only 3 clicks above an idle. So you know how much power I have, and I guess the power's there if I need it.
Okay.
The pilot also turns his head and salutes when he goes by.
Okay.
Great. Well, thanks a lot, Ron.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Here we've got a beautiful GBY model built by Ralph here and flown by Ron. We're going to ask him a couple of questions. Start with you, Ralph. Tell us a little bit about the construction, where you got the idea to do this aircraft.
Well, I've always liked the GBs, and I flew a smaller one at last year's meet, and I saw the plans of this, and I said, well, that's for us, so that's what I got. I got it from Henry Hafke back in Pennsylvania, holds cover right, and built the airplane. I've been 9 months building it. It's been done about, I guess 2 months. We've got about 13 flights on it now, and it weighs 20 pounds. Got an OS 240 engine in, a twin. It's covered with solar tex, 5 coats of dope, 2 coats of primer, and then acrylic lacquer, and clear over the lacquer.
This worked out to be a quarter scale then?
It's a quarter scale airplane.
Okay, Ron's the pilot. Ron, tell us a little bit about what it's like to fly this thing.
It's a privilege to start with. Ralph built the airplane basically for us to fly in this team scale event this year for the 4-stroke after flying a smaller version last year. And it's a very nice airplane to fly. As Ralph indicated, the landing is a problem with it. I think probably if we could see pictures of the full size when landing, they probably had problems too. But with the exception of the landing part of it, it's a very, very nice flying airplane. It's really a privilege to fly, and I'm very happy that Ralph built this for us to fly in this contest.
Okay, this is an entirely 4-stroke competition. Everybody here is running 4 strokes. How do the 4-stroke affect the characteristics of the way this plane flies?
I think this particular airplane, a 4-stroke, enhances the flying of it. It sounds realistic. The speed is, we haven't calculated it, but it's got to be real close to scale. And I think for this particular airplane, even for Sunday flying, we'd never change it from a 4-stroke on this event. You know, for the event or just Sunday flying, whatever, it's the best.
Well, that just about wraps it up for the 5th annual 4-stroke rally. We'd like to see you in your latest 4-stroke project, so be sure to make plans. Come on out, join the fun at the 6th annual 4-stroke rally next year. For Hobby Shack and the Riverside RC Club, this is Ken Wells. If you would like more information on the easy planes featured in the flight demonstration, call Hobby Shack at 800-854-8471 and receive free the Sport Flyer magazine.